Zuma is expected to brief the media in Johannesburg following the release of the final report of the state capture report on Wednesday. The report found, amongst other things, that he enabled state capture and he protected the controversial Gupta family. Zuma is expected to announce actions that will be taken following the release of the report. SABC News journalist Kenny Mapanga is on standby for more. Very good morning to you, Kenny. What's expected to be communicated during this briefing?
Good morning to you, Kolisi, and the viewers at home. I'm coming to you live from the Sandton Lodge, where former President Jacob Zuma, who rarely makes any public appearance, let alone speaks to the media on a continuous basis, will be responding to the final state capture report that was handed over to President Cyril Ramaphosa on Wednesday. Just to give you a bit of a preview, he'll begin his response at about 12:30. But if we just look at a summary of that report, it's made some damning findings against former President Jacob Zuma, that he permitted, enabled, and was almost complicit in not only corruption but alleged state capture. Now, former President Jacob Zuma has denied these claims when he made one appearance before the Zondo Commission. But if you look at some of the evidence that was heard by the Commission, wherever he is implicated, there is this controversial Gupta family that follows closely, whether it's about the appointments of ministers, or if we're discussing national key points like Waterkloof, them being able to land their guests there for a wedding. It seems that this family has followed him closely with some of the incidents that he has been implicated in. And it'll be interesting to find out today why this controversial Gupta family had him at a beck and call, where whatever they requested, it took place, whether they wanted a new person at GCIS. As you may know, Themba Masego was dismissed in order for his now spokesperson Zwanele Mani to come in. So these are some of the things that he's going to give us insight to as to why there was such an extraordinary influence by this family on this one family rather on the head of state. Now to elaborate further on this, and we believe that it might be because he's denied these claims that he might actually be taking these findings on review. But to elaborate further on this, I have SABC political editor Mr. Mzwandile Mbeche, who joins me. He's followed this journey of former President Jacob Zuma quite closely. He's quite familiar with various testimony in the commission. Are we correct in our assessment to say that it's possibly going to be a review and he doesn't agree with these findings?
Thank you very much, Kenny, and a very good morning to the viewers. Looking at the events, how they unfolded and how we got here and what he has been saying, so it's clear that he probably is going to announce that he's taking this on review. He's always contended that he's not been given a fair right, and you know the issue of him ended up being jailed. So all of these things emanate from his opposition to the commission, as it was set out, particularly to the chairperson of the commission. So given those findings, remember, he did not have his say, so he'll basically say I was tried without a fair court trial, or if you want to put it that way. So as a result, let me take this on review, because clearly my side was never heard. So also we expect him to repeat some of the things that he's really been consistent about in saying Zondo for him was never fair, given their close relations that he's also spoken about. So in a matter of less than an hour, so we'll hear him. So as you said, the state capture was not kind to him in its assessment.
When he set up this commission, he broadened the scope so that it would feature all forms of capture. But it appears that wherever he is implicated, there is this one singular family, the Gupta brothers, and almost all these entities. And there's never been a clear explanation as to why this family had such an extraordinary influence on the head of state. I mean, we know that private interests or private capital will always try to worm their way into these institutions. But it appears that there was an overwhelming amount of evidence that they've done more than this with respect to former President Jacob Zuma's term. Is there any clarity as to how this family could instruct a head of state when they wanted appointments, they used their close proximity to abuse resources as well as national key points. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, someone said the sad part about the conclusion of the state capture commission is that here was the main play, but the main actors were not there. So it would have been interesting to hear from the side of the Guptas, all these allegations being leveled against them, how they would have responded. Right now, whatever was said about them stands because they did not have the opportunity to rebut that. Of course, they left the country, and then we understand now they are arrested in United Arab Emirates. But clearly, these are some of the questions. As much as there is now conclusion to this report, because it had to, the questions are, what would have they said? What would they have said to all of these allegations? Because it's quite unbelievable in some instances that if true, the private individuals, as was reported, could influence the head of state just like that. But clearly, here we are now, and the former president will have his say, and as we perhaps are predicting, he's likely to take it on review.
And Mr. Mbeche, analysts have argued that we should stay away from this individualism and not point out certain individuals and rather look at the broader issue as to how are these institutions easily infiltrated in this manner, and how can we safeguard them that they can repel any form of capture in the future. Do you sympathize with his contention that it comes off as if he acted alone in these acts of capture?
Well, right now, so what I'm going to say is that I think as a democracy which is relatively young, our institutions do need to be strengthened. And sometimes for them to be strengthened, they need to be tested. Because you never know if they are functional if we don't put them to the test. So here we are. So are we able to pass this test? If we are, it means our institutions are working well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mbeche, SABC's political editor, giving us a bit of an analysis before former President Jacob Zuma formally responds to the fifth and final state capture report that was handed over on Wednesday. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but we'll continue to update you as this unfolds at 12:30. Over to you, Mxolisi.
Kenny Mapango will be bringing us that all-important press briefing as and when it happens.